And we're off. I have started the clock.
Well, the keeper of the clock has arrived. Hey, man.
What's going on? I got my Marshall
up?
shirt
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, go Herd,
We're
right?
in football season.
We are.
1-0, beat Albany.
Man, what a...
Got East Carolina tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Golly, what's going to happen at that game? Any predictions?
Should be a good game.
It's going to be huge. Half got odds on that game?
I can tell you that he and I are going to have a bet on that game by tomorrow at 4 p.m., but if I tried to bet him right now, he would tell me it's too early.
Too early.
He likes to wait right up until game time.
I'll tell you what it's not too early for.
What?
Chris Adkins been in the studio.
Woo!
What's up, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming down, making the drive down from the home office. We've got Chris Adkins. Chris Adkins from the operations department, right?
Yeah, on the operations team.
Chris and I, we get to work together over on operations. And Chris has been super helpful with the podcast. You've came down and kind of ran when we went through a couple episodes where the guests were brought in. When you blindfolded, Chris helped stage those days to make sure that people got in and out without you knowing.
Some might even say I was managing the talent that day.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've heard rumblings of that. I know Jeff's in the biz. I could possibly be considered in the biz.
That was a comment that somebody in the biz would have made.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a common guy working among the Hollywood elite here on the podcast.
Nah, hey, chin up, guy. You're getting it.
All right, I got you. Thanks. Well, dude, thanks for coming down. Today should be a really fun day. In episodes in the past, we've interviewed my wife. And then probably the only other person I work closer with than my wife would be you. We talk a lot, right?
Yeah, very, very intimate relationship.
Yeah, we do. So, dude, thanks for agreeing to come down and doing the podcast. Why don't you give us a little history of who Chris Adkins is?
Yeah, sure. So I started out in Charleston, in the Charleston office, in a director of operations role under Eddie Logan. I was actually recruited to the company by Adam Canterbury, a previous guest. He's the executive director in Barbersville now. Adam, my wife actually started working for the company originally. She started working through Leanne. They met, of course, PTO.
Wait, hold on. So your wife works for the company, and you work here too?
Yeah.
Man, that sounds dangerous.
It is.
I don't think
shady.
I would advise that. Yeah, but go on.
As we've heard in previous podcasts, putting all of your eggs in one basket, right? So yeah, we really do work a little harder for that reason. So my wife started out in billing with Leanne. They met on the PTO, and then of course became really good friends. And through that, she got the opportunity to come work for the company. I don't want to speak too much on her because she's not here, obviously, but she was looking for a job, part-time, something she could do, still be at home with our youngest and possibly make some decent money. And lo and behold, we just kind of ran into this opportunity. I didn't know at the time, had no idea what the company was. I was selling jewelry.
Like out of your car?
Yeah, basically out of my trunk of my car, people just pulled up and I would get them what they need.
Wow, like a mobile jewelry store.
Yep.
Something.
Very similar, yeah. Exactly.
It's interesting.
Good bucket in that racket, I bet.
Yeah.
Was that stolen jewelry? Or?
Yeah, it was stolen. Yeah.
That's even higher profit margin.
Yeah,
there.
almost no overhead.
No overhead at all. Yeah, everything's right in the
Bell
pocket.
or defense funds, but other than that.
I know Andy Hess now, so I'm going to be fine. Yeah, I'll get right out of that.
You were, no joke, had an excellent job in a very reputable national jewelry store chain. We won't name it, but you were there, is it 18 years?
I was there for 12 years.
12 years,
yeah.
okay. I knew it was a long time.
Yeah.
Enough to where for you to make a career change was a true leap. It wasn't like you just showed up and you were still figuring out what you wanted to do. How did you come to that decision?
Well, Adam had called me a lot. He really wanted me in the company. He thought I'd be a really good fit. Kept pursuing me about it, and I would just kind of brush it off. I was very happy doing what I was doing. I was, not to toot my own horn, I was extremely good at it. I was successful. I made good money. I had young kids, so the schedule was tough, and it just over time, it just kind of eroded away at me. Kept talking to me. We had long conversations of the evening, and eventually, I just, like you said, I took a leap of faith and. I came in, I met with you one day, and I tell this story often. In that 30-minute conversation, you and I had a one-on-one conversation, I felt more appreciated and than I had with my company I'd been with for 12 years, who I was just a number for a big corporation.
Huh, cool. Yeah, I remember that very well, too. We were in Matt's office at one point, and I remember when I was like, I don't know exactly what role we have or what it leads to, but this is like when the Yankees don't really necessarily need a shortstop, but there's a star out there. Just get on the team somehow. We'll figure out how this works out later, but you're so obviously talented in so many ways. It's like, let's just get in Village Caregiving, and then we'll figure this out. And, man, whenever you left your previous job, I don't know if I ever told you this, I was on your Facebook page, and dude, you had like hundreds of people mourning your loss at this employer.
Yeah.
Who am I going to get my jewelry from now? Like, I'm talking, you were a celebrity, man. I'm not really exaggerating this much. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. I was like, good God, we got LeBron James coming over.
It was something I've never been passionate, and that was a thing for me. I was always looking for something else because I was never passionate about jewelry necessarily. But I am passionate about people, and I was able to build, great rapport with my clients, and I had a humongous following. Again, not trying to gloat. I mean, you're saying these things. And,
no, you did.
I did have a very big following for that reason.
Yeah, I know when I left my job, I had 6 likes, so it's whatever. I mean, I think that's comparable though.
Sounds high.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it probably, a lot of them was family or whatever, but that's fine. A couple bots, I think. I don't know, but
paid likes.
Yeah,
they're out there.
It was fine. It was all fine. That's how we met Impact. I asked them to
get those likes up. I need at least a half dozen.
Yeah. So let's fast forward, man. I mean, you're at the company. You're working in the Charleston office. Mm-hmm. Your team is doing fantastic there. The 3 people, Eddie, Sherry, and yourself at Charleston. We're really hitting strides. Then the operations team was kind of formed, all right? And that was, do you remember when that was? You remember when you came down?
I think it was around August.
Yeah, I felt like
last
it was,
year.
Yeah, it was right.
I think I started around
last
August,
year. Yeah. And so we had conversations. You were kind of living at the halfway point between Charleston and Huntington. Mm-hmm. And so geographically it made sense. But you were a process guy. I mean, it was very clear that you had a good understanding of our processes. And I know when we were first originally having this conversation about building out the operations team, Chris's name was kind of floated around as someone that may be a potential good fit to join the team. But you and I really didn't know each other.
Yeah.
So we met up for lunch. We had a quick conversation, met up for lunch. And I left that lunch realizing that you and I saw things very similar, and that we are the things that made us excited about work or what rewarded our mechanisms seemed to be pretty similar. And I just remember sensing that and thinking we could make this work. Fast forward a year, what was really funny for me was when you came over, I'd been working with a lot of the locations and we were growing. I mean, we were still in rapid growth mode. And you were like, I don't know how I'm going to get like a director to trust me, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to call you and talking about me. They're always going to call you and ask you this. I'm just this guy, right? And it's so funny now. I don't know that half the directors even know who I am. I mean, they just call. I'll be there, and Chris and I work across from each other now in the office, and I'll hear directors call him, and I'll get I'm like, well, who's that? Well, what did she want? I haven't heard from. Okay, that's fine. No, it's good. I'm glad she's calling you. There's he's just done such a remarkable job of becoming that trusted voice that when someone needs something, they're comfortable to reach out to Chris and know that it's taken care of, and that he's giving good support and good answers. But over that last year, watching that natural process occur has been really a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, it's funny to hear you say that. That was something that was an extreme concern of mine. I want people to first and foremost, I want to help people, right? I mean, that's what we do. That's what your and I's role consists of, is making sure that their processes are fine, that they feel good in their role, they're comfortable in their role. And that was a huge concern of mine in the beginning. And I will say it has been refreshing and nice to be that person for people. And I hope they continue to be that way.
Yeah. You get a little jealous whenever they don't call for you?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean,
I used to do the same thing. I used to get extremely jealous. And I'm like, man, who was that? What do they want? Like,
why didn't they call me?
Yeah.
It's funny how it works. I think we both are that way, because he'll get calls like someone that like exclusively talks to me. Sometimes I'll call him like, well, what's going on behind the scenes? Like, what?
I think that's generally the feeling around our office, which isn't that a cool thing, because the other side of that is, oh, thank God they didn't call me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We actually want to be involved in everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Hey, let me ask you, what is your I want you to real answer here, raw and unedited.
Okay.
Okay. What's your hardest part of working at Village Caregiving?
Real raw, huh? This is tough. I want to say
It's the hardest part of your job.
we have a lot of personalities at the home office. We have a lot of different departments, a lot of things happening. I think communication is probably the hardest part of the job, just knowing what's going on in everybody's mind. And everybody, we all have a vision. Each department has a vision of what they want to see, and you know, everything's important and they all have to happen.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes that can get lost, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I let us down on that specifically a lot because we're a growing company and so many things happen every single day. You ask a guy, I mean, if you take a week vacation, you're going to come back and miss like 2 big things that happened.
Yeah.
And we don't always do a good enough job of remembering to communicate that. And it's not that we're intentionally trying to leave somebody out of the process. There's just too much going on. Sometimes I forget, but it is a weakness probably.
Well, and I think it's in a way probably a blessing and a curse, because we are a company that, I mean, we move fast. We can do things quickly. We don't have to have a meeting about a meeting that we're going to have a meeting about. I mean, we might be sitting at a table this size, the 3 of us talking, and change a company policy. You know, it's insane.
To me, we were recently in orientation with a couple of folks that joined the home office, and I was reminding them a thing that I have to remind myself often, and that is there are a ton of departments here, and they all have vital roles in what we do. And when they're trying to communicate the need of their department to you or to other ownership or to an executive director somewhere, what they're saying is the most important thing in their department.
Yep.
But it's also balancing against what I'm saying in operations or what Leanne is saying. And when you've got to get these timesheets. I saw Wade sent out an email not long ago about consolidated timesheets.
Yep.
And it's like, I was right in the middle of sending an email about something that operations needs done. And it's like, so trying to remind ourselves that we're all kind of vying for attention to try to get this thing a little bit further, not to justify our roles, but hopefully to make the processes better, right? But that is, as the home office has grown. There was a day when we were all at 650 Main downstairs together, and nothing happened that everyone in that hallway didn't know about, right? Now we're in multiple buildings, multiple offices, multiple states, all trying to stay on the same page of where this thing's going. So it's a pretty interesting challenge that we're up against.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, how many pets do you have?
I have 2.
Let's hear about them.
Okay, so we've got my oldest daughter named. We have a mixed breed dog. It's Hector Habanero.
Hector Habanero?
She says he's a spicy little pepper. That's what she calls him. So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, he's something else. And then we've got a new cat named Felix.
Ah, all right. Where did you come across this cat?
So my daughter really wanted Aaron, I've told the story, it's kind of funny. She really wanted a Maine Coon, right? It's a large breed cat. They get like humongous, but they're really expensive.
I think you can ride them. I don't know.
Yeah. So we were kind of on the hunt for that. We were waiting. Of course, breeders have them. They have, list of people that want to buy them. So you've got to try to get on a list. So we ended up getting on a list for one, thought about getting it. And Felix ended up popping up, I think on like Facebook Marketplace or something. My wife saw it, and she of course just fell for him instantly when she saw him. So
Little Felix.
Yeah.
Parnian loves. What do you call Hector Habanero? Like for short?
Hecky.
Hecky.
Yeah, Hecky.
Hecky and Felix.
Yeah.
You got any fish?
So we have a pond outside. We have probably oddly enough, we have some baby goldfish in there, and then we have some koi. So there's been some action in there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, those baby goldfish we didn't put in there. They're like this big. So.
We got a couple goldfish in the house.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're Rachel's fish. And, I've come to really love those little guys. I worry about them.
Yeah.
Really?
I never had a fish my whole life growing up. Ever. And now, if we're on a trip somewhere, I'm calling Cameron like, hey, will you go by the house and just check on the fish, make sure they got some food? I worry about them more than Rachel at this point. They're my buddies.
How many do you have?
2 of them.
What's their names?
Spike and Lamont.
Those are great names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those.
And there's a little shrimp that lives in there with him, too,
Really?
named Shiloh.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
That's lovely.
Really is special.
It's really great.
Yeah, it is. I love it. Yeah. It's awesome.
What other hard-hitting questions do you have there, Jeff?
Okay, so I'm going to move from pets to, you have very high... Okay, I'm going to be serious. No, I'm being serious. You do. You have like extremely high ethical values and standards. I ask this question sometimes, but where do those come from in you?
I mean, they're instilled in me from my parents. I mean, there's no other way to say it. My dad was he was tough, but I look back on that now and I appreciate that from him. We were always taught to, work for everything that we have, and, unlike Aaron, if you start something, finish it.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
We're kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad's a blue collar guy. He's a mechanic. He's just a very, he is the most ethical person I know.
Any specific memories that stuck with you? I have a couple of those. Like I make this analogy sometimes in the office where there are a couple of little things that my dad or my mom said to me that have stuck with me my whole life. Just one-liners that were great pieces of advice. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm a parent and I'm hopefully going to give some good advice, I think back to when I was a kid. On that day that line was spoken, my dad, my mom, they were just going about their day. Mm-hmm. They had no idea that day, that moment was going to be the thing they said that changed my entire outlook about something. Mm-hmm. But that's real stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. Do you have any specific memories like that at all from your folks, or?
To be honest, I don't. I mean, it's my dad. It was a daily thing for my dad. It was quite often that he would bring those one-liners up. Simple things like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Things like that have just always stuck with me.
Yeah. So it was just a day-to-day process.
Yeah.
Were they pretty hard on you?
Yeah. Yeah. He was definitely hard on me. Expected a lot out of me, but I appreciate him for that. Now I can look back on it and I see a lot of my success, and I can thank him for most of that.
Well, that's neat. Mm-hmm. So the line that my dad gave me was one time he got me this pair of boat shoes, and I'm like 11. I don't know. It's like Sperry's, right? Mm-hmm. But nobody was wearing this stuff back then, especially 11-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to wear. He's like, "Why don't you ever wear those shoes? I got you for your birthday."
Yeah, that's a good question.
And I said, "Well, I didn't want to hurt his feelings or make him mad. He's a pretty hard guy too." I was like, "Dad, I mean, nobody wears these. It's kind of embarrassing." Man, he did not like that answer at all. And he just turns around from what he's doing and he says, "Well, let me tell you something, son. Some people in life set the trends and other people follow them. Which one do you want to be?" Man, I was like, "I guess I'll set them." He's like, "All right." I went and put those shoes on and tried to live a new life from that moment forward, where I was just going to be like, well, I guess I'll just be the setter and not the follower.
Yeah.
I think obviously I remember it. I'm talking about it. It has influenced me in certain ways, I bet. But on that day, he was like getting ready to just go wash the car. He didn't know he was about to drop some influential line that would steer my life. You know what I mean? That's just kind of a crazy thing to think about.
It's if you think about it too, I mean, Sperry's really took off probably shortly after that. So you could have honestly set the trend.
I like to think I had something to do with that.
Yeah. I believe it personally. I mean,
could we get a sponsorship?
I think so. Sperry.
Yeah. You guys there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know that you'd asked me if I remembered anything from my childhood that my dad maybe said to me.
Hey, do you remember anything like that Bill would have told you as a kid that really influenced you and stuck with you? Or Brenda?
Yeah. So one time, I told this story before, but not on the podcast. We have a large front yard at my parents' house, and my dad traveled a lot. And me and my brother, if we didn't get the grass mowed in time, we would have to rake all the dead grass off of it. And we would have to put it in wheelbarrows and dump it in the creek. We had to do that before Dad got back out of town. And so me and my brother, we did this in a hurry one day, and then we just laid the rakes right inside the garage door. And Dad comes home from out of town. He walks into the garage, and then he dead centers a rake in between his eyes. Okay?
Oh, ouch.
My dad was raised on a farm. I talk about him a lot. He's an Andy Griffith-like character. And I remember we were waiting to catch the bus, and Dad opened the front door, and there was a run of blood going down. And he looked at both of us, and he said, "We'll talk when you get home from school." And so what I remember from that moment was
that's a long day at school right there.
That's tough.
I told my brother on the bus I was going to tell our guidance counselor what happened so Dad couldn't kill us. And my brother wisely advised me to not do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds smart.
Weirdly enough, of the times that we did get in trouble that particular day, people always wonder how that story ended. He beat. I'm kidding. He did not. We got home from school, and we were in like just normal trouble. I honestly thought he may murder us when we got home from school that day.
Well, he had like 7 hours to cool off.
Yeah.
That's a huge help.
That's what I said. Now that I'm an adult, all right. Now what I pictured was he just stayed home that day and like sharpened his knife or whatever he would do in a homicidal. But now I think like if that happened to me, I'd be mad at my son. Then I would drive to work and people would be like, what happened? I'm like, yeah, my freaking kid, you know, and by the end of the day, it would be funny, but I'd have to go home and still act somewhat mad.
Yeah.
But I heard a podcast the other day where they were telling the story about this prank that went wrong and this high school kid messed up and it ruined a road in a neighborhood. He opened hydrants and as a prank and it ruined the road. And he said that he remembered his dad was like, take me and show me what you've done. And they drive over there. And he said, I just remember sitting in the car when my dad walked over to the ledge of what used to be the main road in that community. And now it's just a washed out area. And he said, I thought he's got all this figured out. But now as an adult, I know he was just standing there looking at this going, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know with my kids now, I'm like, what are we even doing? What's the answer? So yeah, good for parents that fake it till they make it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, I mean, the smallest thing, you're doing permanent damage. You know what I mean? I mean, that's sticking around.
Yeah.
Whenever you cracked your dad in the face with a rake, do you intend to tell me that he stepped on a metal rake
yes.
and it popped up and hit him right between the eyes like a Three Stooges?
It was leaning against the wall.
Oh, and his foot caught it.
Caught
Okay.
him. Pow. Yeah. Just now, is there a chance that was ketchup? 100%. You know, did he do it for dramatic effect? Maybe.
I don't know.
He is Aaron's father. So
yeah, but I've never seen him
I
do
could
such
see him doing that.
Have you ever met Bill before?
I've never met Bill.
I met Chris's dad, though.
He's the
He
man.
did meet my father, yeah.
Yeah, great guy, great mom. Chris's mother, I got to say. What's your mom's name?
Roxanne.
Roxy, Chris's mother.
Roxanne.
Take it easy first of all.
No wonder he's always in trouble.
Yeah. There's a song about my mother, actually. It's
Roxanne,
called
yeah.
Roxanne. Yeah,
Absolutely.
by the police. It's not a...
We were at his daughter's birthday party, and I watched Chris's mother be so proud of Chris. It was really cool to see. It's always fun when we get to go to like family things outside of work and meet the people. You've met some of our family at different things. I've met some of your family at different things. It's always fun when we get to go outside of work and see the people that kind of shaped the people that we work with. That's a unique thing about our culture at Village Caregiving, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I like everybody's families a lot, too. I keep on asking one of you two guys to have me over for dinner. Won't do it.
You've been to my house a lot.
Not for dinner.
It's just not true.
Am I lying? Oh, I've been to your house for dinner now.
How many hot dogs did you eat at my house at the pool the other day?
That was a Memorial Day party for the entire town.
No,
that doesn't count. I want a serious dinner where you have to work for it. I get to show up, do nothing, eat all your food, and leave.
Okay. Yeah, I've tried to invite you over. You were out of town for 3 months, and then you came back. You had plans that weekend after. I tried to set this up.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Okay, well, then you're off the hook.
Okay. I'll take that.
But not him.
Yeah.
Not me.
No, you're on the
He
hook.
said, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm off.
Well, I mean, as a couple fellas that's in the biz, to get your schedules to align would be like, I don't know.
It's impossible practically. We've tried.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to work it out.
Like getting Brad and George's schedules to align out in Hollywood somehow. Only Tarantino could pull it off.
I think you like Pitt and Clooney, I think, is who you say you're going for. Yeah. I'm in the biz. I know these things.
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
Serious one, too.
I'm ready.
It's not for you.
This is my life. I mean, this is my life. I mean, anybody comes to our office, he just assumes it's.
Yeah.
He
answers my phone.
He really is jealous when those directors call you, isn't he?
I know.
Does he ever pick up your phone?
He does. Yeah, he picks up. It just acts like me. I'm like, well,
That's
I mean, what if they're talking? What if I behind your back talk about you?
Okay. At the end of your career, okay, down the road, I'm asking this in a serious way. What would you like to have accomplished that you would be most proud of?
Well, I think for me, I'm a simple man. I feel like if I had, financial stability for my family, for my kids, I've set them up. They can do whatever they want with life. I would love to see it end here with Village Caregiving, no matter what capacity that's in. I mean, that's really it for me. If I can be financially stable for my family and provide for them and set them up for success with life. And that's all I would ask for.
Yeah, you're a family guy. It's cool to see. What about for you personally? Be selfish for just a minute. I respect and I like that your first answer was, I want my family to be secure. But just for you on the inside, every day I came to work and blank, or I accomplished blank. Like, I wonder what is it that kind of fills you up?
That's I've been asking myself that question a lot lately. I've kind of been battling that because, I feel success. I do feel like I've been successful. I feel like I've made it in a way. I don't know. I would just go back to my family again, lean on them. I mean, for them to feel like I did a good job and that I, for myself, if I'm going to be selfish, I also want to feel like I've done a good job. And I think it's nice at times to be told you're doing a good job. I think that is something that is vitally important, but easily overlooked. No matter what capacity you're in, I think it's really nice to know that you're appreciated and that you feel valued.
Yeah. Well, I'll compliment you right now. There was only just a few weeks ago, I'm walking through the back of our office and you're taking a phone call, and one of our directors had soured a relationship with a payer source, maybe even irreparable. It was bad. And I heard you take the phone call talking to that payer source, and the tone in your voice, the patience, I heard you say words like, I beg you, please don't feel that way. I'm going to make this right. And I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I just happened to hear a few sentences of it. And I think I walked in there to Aaron and I was just like, man, this dude on the phone at his job, customer service, it's the best thing I've ever heard before. I really mean that. It's perfection. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Aaron, any compliments? You have anything for me? I mean, I'm just...
No, I wouldn't hold your breath.
Time's really tight and stuff. So we only have so much
The alarms
space.
already went off. I mean, I've heard it. So
we only have so much space on the drives.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a thing.
No, it's okay.
It's probably going to get cut anyway.
Sure. It's no problem. I'll take it personally. I'm going to get it.
Man, I mean, there is obviously we talk about when offices have their people, right? I mean, you and I my side of the relationship is this. I mean, you're the ultimate battle buddy. And it's weird. I hope that you guys, you and Matt, for instance, maybe have this situation where a lot of times when you're dealing with work stuff, it doesn't even really feel like work stuff, if that makes sense. Like when you guys are trying to figure out whether to do a building expansion or to go to a new state or invest money in whatever, it is work related, but it's two people talking that see things similarly, or friends. And when you and I are solving things or trying to navigate a challenge, even if it's after hours, if it's weekends or whatever, I don't necessarily feel like I'm clocking back in and dealing with it.
I 100% agree.
Like we're just solving something, whether that's his car's broke down or my plumbing's messed up. Like we're just solving the thing and we're not clocking in or out. That is something that is, as the operations department grows, how we replicate that is such a challenging thing, because I don't know if the chemistry would be the right word to use, but the relationship, the friendship that we have, the mutual respect I think that we have, I can't think of a bigger fan that you would have than myself. I want the world for you. I appreciate everything that you do. You make my job easier. Hopefully I can not complicate your job anymore, but it is, I think we have a very solid thing that occurs there. And a lot of that has to do with just your unbelievable work ethic. We talk about this in different meetings and stuff, but when Chris takes on a project, there is no question about the success of that project. Like it is going to be done unbelievably well. The other day I asked him to reset the Face ID on a phone. It was in passing. It was handed the phone off. I'm like, could you reset? And later on I mentioned it. Like just thought maybe he could have forgot. And like the offense that he took, he's like, dude, when you asked me to do something, it's done. And it was. Like that was but that was cool. But
that's why you got to get him on the Yankees, man. We'll figure it out later. It's obvious. Yes.
Chris, I'd love to get your opinion on two things specifically.
Absolutely.
Like, hey,
Fishbowl.
First one, let me ask you this one. All right. Shoes make you act like a different human when you look down at your feet. Have you ever thought about that?
100%. I mean, I'm a shoe guy, so I mean, 100%.
Shoes, and you feel like they make you act like a different human when you
Absolutely.
look down at them?
Absolutely. Depending on the style, the color, the vibrance of them, what they look like. I mean,
Well, I got head nods from the crowd in here. You're an evangelist, and you're preaching
I mean,
truth.
he's preaching. Yeah, I mean,
It's a big deal that
Well,
you don't
huge
think
deal.
about every morning when you get dressed. If I put on a pair of what I have on right now is sort of a brown. Well, I'll just show you.
Yeah, go ahead and get those up there.
Oh gosh, I'm so old.
I know. I heard
Kind
you
of a
popping and
brown
cracking.
chestnutty something. I don't know what that is. If I had on a white sneaker,
Yeah.
all right, and I look down, I act differently. I talk differently. I walk a little
oh
differently.
yeah, you feel it.
Right?
It's like almost like a swagger, really.
Something.
Yeah.
And if they're dressier shoes, you act a little
Oh,
dressier.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, fancy Nancy over there. I see.
You got to think about. I'm actually kind of God. I'm gonna
Go
sound
on.
so weird.
No,
this is
say
like
it.
Leanne's episode where I started admitting that I don't wash my jeans every
I
time.
mean, really though. I mean, who washes their jeans? I mean,
Not
can we get back on
everyone.
that? I mean, that is just
Yeah. Oof. Easy. You're going to say ridiculous, and then we're going to have complaints. Because some people, when you reach the masses like this podcast does, okay,
Yeah.
you're going to get a lot of opinions.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
some of them really cut deep.
I'll tell you.
But at any rate,
yeah.
if you're thinking about what kind of day do I want to have today, what's on my docket for today, I can kind of influence my mood and whatever by different shoes.
Yeah, that's why I only
It's
wear
just a
Crocs.
bizarre thing. It makes me act differently when I look down.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that way.
No.
Just is.
When you wear your Crocs, how do they make you feel?
I don't have any Crocs, but they'd probably make me feel carefree and beachy,
Yeah.
I guess.
Make you want to go to Margaritaville and eat dinner?
Yeah.
I think those things go hand in hand. Crocs. And
I don't know
Margaritaville.
if there's a shoe that's going to make me want to do that. No offense to Margaritaville.
Well, I don't know how Margaritaville
I'm not a
could be
chain
offended by
guy.
that.
Yeah.
You know, Chris, eggs don't taste like much considering how strong they smell. You ever thought about that?
Well, yeah. I suppose that's. I mean,
They
the
just don't
smell
have-
is pretty.
Yeah.
It can be bad at times.
You would think it would have a strong taste since the smell's so strong, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, first off, an egg white has
What
nearly
is that?
no taste. I love eggs, by the way.
It's
Yeah.
paper.
But they don't taste like much.
No.
And a yolk is good, but it doesn't have like, how many foods could you name with a very pungent taste? Like
I guess
either
you're right.
love
I
it or-
mean, unless you salt and pepper, like even a fried egg, it's not going to have.
not a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But boy, they can be the stinkiest things in the world. It's
they-
just kind of weird to
Yeah.
me.
Absolutely.
Wonder why that is.
Like the science behind it.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't guess I know either.
I don't know. I eat raw eggs sometimes too.
Really.
They don't taste like a whole. I was thinking maybe when you cook them, some of the sulfur smell comes out of there or something, but they don't taste like a heck of a lot raw.
Here's a fun fact about Chris. When he eats an apple, he eats the whole thing.
Core and all.
What? You're lying.
I've
You
seen-
can't eat the core of an apple
I've-
with seeds in it and
I've
stuff.
seen him do it. He
I-
eats
every
it like a
single time.
potato chip.
I do. The whole thing.
What do you do with the seeds?
I eat them. I eat the whole
What?
thing. Every time.
Yeah, look at this. Look at the reaction of the crowd. That's
Their mouths are hanging open like
wait, hold on. She does too.
Spencer eats the whole
Oh, you have to.
apple?
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you? I mean, why don't you eat the core?
Here's what's fascinating about this story. Wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
even think it was edible.
Yeah, get this. This is not something. You know how sometimes you'll eat something a certain way because that was how you was raised to do it, right? And you'll go somewhere like take say meatloaf. Some people eat it with ketchup on top of it. Some people are like, why would
Okay.
you? Okay. He didn't do this as a child. This is something he came to on his own as an
Well,
adult.
why be wasteful of it? It's there.
I respect that even more if that's true.
100%.
If it's true.
I just am finding this is hard to believe. You can't eat a core of an apple. It's too hard. It's not.
It's not. It's just as edible as the rest of the apple. It's the same thing. It's the same consistency.
I've got to try this out. I didn't even
You
know.
get a
that was-
little more of like an earthy taste to it, of course, but I mean, it's good.
Does it taste? It still tastes good
Tastes
too.
great. Yeah.
That cannot be true either.
There is no way.
I
that
will eat
more than
I will eat almost an
2%
entire.
of
I will
people
eat
that-
almost any fruit, the whole thing, almost. Banana, I don't eat like banana peels, but I will like at times chew on them. Like it's a little bitter, but it doesn't like bother me.
You're losing the crowd.
I'm just being honest.
This was a thing that we discovered one day.
And little known fact, most of the nutrients in a banana are in the peel.
Yeah.
I watched him go after an orange before, like it owed him money. So.
I ate 7 oranges last night. Asked my wife, I'm not kidding you. I sat there in the kitchen and peeled 7 oranges and ate them.
Now you can't eat the peel of an orange. No. Far too bitter.
But you do zest it for food a lot.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'll be honest. All jokes aside, I am fascinated by this. I'm gonna have to explore it, ask more questions off the air.
Yeah,
ask more questions.
Eat a whole apple.
Yeah, every time.
No,
exclusively. I never throw the core away. I eat the whole thing every time. And honestly, I'll eat other people's cores. Like when my wife eats her apple, she'll of course leave the core. I'm like, pass that over here. I'll take care of that for you.
Isn't it like chewy and pliable and hard?
No, it's probably a little. I'd say it's a little tougher, but it's not. Not much different.
Daggone. Mm-hmm. You've got apple seeds in your belly getting ready to grow.
Just so many.
I call him Johnny all the time.
Johnny Appleseed. Yeah,
if everybody was like you, there wouldn't be no more apple trees.
No, he'd shut it down.
That's true.
Well, for a guy that will finish the chicken wings meat, you sure do seem offended by the apple core.
I'm not offended. I'm interested, and I'm going to try it, and I'm going to report back.
Yeah,
I've never felt more like the normal one on here.
This is something. You've actually turned it around. You're the first time ever, history of the fishbowl, I think, that I thought I was going to really be clever, and you've completely flipped it around on me. Cap tip, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I can't think of a better way to end the podcast, Chris. Cheers, man.
Cheers, guys.